আমি দুইজনে বঢ়িয়া বিজনেছ এটা কৰি আছোঁ। ইয়াত থ'লে পইচাটো দুগুণকৈ বাঢ়ি যাব। কৌটিপতি, বুজিছ? কৌটিপতি।
Welcome back to this live broadcast. This morning, India woke up to news of which they were waiting for the last 15 days, ever since the Pahalgam killing of 26 civilians by Pakistani terrorists. The news was obvious. India has struck terror hideouts, terror camps, terror headquarters, terror dens inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. At 10:30 in the morning, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefed the media, and shortly after that, two armed forces officers were assigned to brief the media. One of them was Colonel Sophia Qureshi and the other was Wing Commander Yomika Singh. Both lady officers, one is a Lieutenant Colonel in the Indian Army, another is a Wing Commander. Colonel Sophia Qureshi, who is Colonel Sophia Qureshi? That's what everybody wants to know. Colonel Sophia Qureshi is a decorated officer from the Indian Army's Corps of Signals, has a long track record of breaking barriers. At just 35, she has already etched her name in history. In March 2016, as a Lieutenant Colonel, Qureshi became the first woman to lead an Indian Army contingent in a multinational military exercise called Exercise Force 18. This is the largest ever hosted by India. The event saw participation from 18 nations, including the United States, China, Russia, Japan, and ASEAN countries. She also served as a military observer with the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Congo in 2006 and has been actively involved in peacekeeping efforts since 2010. Sophia Qureshi continues to be a shining example of leadership and excellence in military operations, particularly in areas focused on peacekeeping and humanitarian efforts. Now coming to Wing Commander Yomika Singh, a helicopter pilot in the Indian Air Force, she has logged over 2,500 flying hours operating aircraft like Cheetah and Chetak in challenging terrain across Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast. Her military journey began with a dream to fly, nurtured through the National Cadet Corps. She became the first in her family to join the armed forces and was commissioned as a pilot on December 18, 2019. She received a permanent commission in the flying branch. Notably, she played a key role in critical air operations in Arunachal Pradesh in November 2020. Very interesting there, very confident officers of the Indian Defence Forces, Indian Armed Forces, Sophia Qureshi and Yomika Singh. Now let's take a look, viewers, at the 9 locations where India struck the precision strike this morning. Let's look at them one by one. The pictures speak for themselves. Let's continue with the slides. So among the locations targeted are Markaz Taiba in Muridke, which was a training center for terrorists involved in the Mumbai 2008 attacks. Well, Azmal Kasab and David Hidley were also trained here. So this speaks volumes about this location, which was decimated by the Indian Armed Forces this morning. The next target was the Sarjal camp in Sialkot, just 6 kilometers from the international border. Terrorists involved in the killing of 4 soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir in March 2025 were trained here. Yes, Sarjal camp was yet another terror launchpad and hence was decimated by the precision strike. The Gulpur The Gulpur camp in Kodi, which is 30 kilometers from the LOC, was also destroyed. This was a base of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. It was a training center for terrorists involved in April 20, 2023 attack in Poonch and June 9, 2024 attack on pilgrims. Markaz Subhan Allah, Bahawalpur, which was the head office of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, was also came under attack during Operation Sindoor. This was the center of recruitment, training and indoctrination. So the nerve center of Jaish-e-Mohammed terror factory was attacked last night. The Mahmouna Joya camp in Sialkot, which was a stronghold of Hizbul Mujahideen, a terrorist group. The attack on Pathankot airbase was planned and directed from here. The Barnala terror camp in Bhimbar, which is 9 kilometers from Dalhousie, was also decimated. It was the center for handling arms and ammunition. So, all these centers are significant for terror operations. Now, I'm joined by Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, a distinguished fellow at Gateway House and a very well known in the diplomatic corps, not just in India but globally. Ambassador Bhatia, welcome to this live broadcast. I was having top army officials just a few minutes ago, and we were talking basically about the precision strikes. Now my question to you, Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, is that India has made its intent clear. That was demonstrated. The nation was asking to avenge the death of 26 innocent civilians in Pahalgam, and India has demonstrated its intent by the strike this morning. Now, the international community, India has reached out to ambassadors, envoys and national security advisors of as many as 30 countries since this morning following Operation Sindoor. How do you look at this, and how do you look particularly at China's response? The first response was that we regret the incident. It was not a condemnation.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Wasbir Sahab. You are holding this special program on a very important and consequential development. I think it's our bounden duty to inform everybody in India and abroad, and particularly in the northeast of India, a region which is very close to my heart, about what is happening on the borders with Pakistan. I think the immediate answer to your question is that the world is watching perfect coordination of India's war preparations and diplomacy. India has taken 2 weeks and then decided to take some thoughtful measures, and we saw the situation of that last night, and at the same time it has been made very clear to everyone concerned that these are measured, calibrated, non-escalatory steps. What does it mean? It means that after taking into account the impact of the Pahalgam massacre by terrorist groups based in Pakistan, India decided it was not really that much of a revenge, as was mentioned earlier, as delivering justice. In fact, you would notice that soon after the operation was over, the Indian Army sent a message, justice delivered, Jai Hind. So it is a kind of a justice delivered to punish those people who had been behind this terrible tragedy in Pahalgam. But most importantly, it's also noteworthy that Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri made it clear that we have firm intelligence, credible, unquestionable intelligence, that these terrorist groups were planning to perpetuate, to carry further attacks against India. So this is very much self-defense in advance as well. But my final point is that by the route of proactive diplomacy, the government has informed all its partners, all the important countries which are interested and involved in one way or the other in the India-Pakistan equation, that India has taken certain steps. India is going to watch Pakistan's response. and India has no intention, under the best of circumstances, to broaden the conflict or escalate the ladder, but India is fully prepared for any response that Pakistan might decide to take to complicate matters.
Right. I'm also joined in this broadcast by Lieutenant General Arvinder Lamba, the former Vice Chief of Army Staff. General Lamba, welcome. The nation wanted India to avenge the death of its innocent civilians, and the armed forces today have delivered. Your first reactions to this?
I think it's a very important moment in our history of counterterrorism that India stood up to over several decades. I think it's been one of the most important actions today. Like, it's come out in the news that after 1971, this is the first joint and integrated action that has actually happened. And I feel that this moment is not just of a counter-strike. It's a moment that shows it's a very diplomatically deliberated upon, militarily deliberated upon strike, that to bring home a message that the terror must stop. And I think the larger message that's now resonating is that it's not that Pakistan is a hub of terror. We're now convincing the world, in fact Pakistan is helping us to, that Pakistan is a state actor that sponsors terrorism more than anywhere else in the world. I think so with that, every action that India has taken, it's been precise, it's been limited, and it's been absolutely focused on the terror camps.
Right. I'm coming to you, Ambassador, but before that, let me tell you that one of the IPL matches which was scheduled to be played in Dharamsala has been shifted to Mumbai because the Kangra airport is one of those airports that has been temporarily shut because of the developing situation. That is the breaking story coming in. Now, let me go to you, Ambassador Bhatia. India has spoken to several countries in the last few days. The Russian President Putin had spoken to Prime Minister Modi maybe twice in the last couple of days, and India has actually been engaged with several countries in the last few days. And today, of course, is a different story. After Operation Sindoor, India reached out to 30 countries, and this first reaction by External Affairs Minister Jaishankar this morning, when he took to social media to say that the world must have zero tolerance to terrorism. Now, where is this confidence coming from that the entire global community will be with us, and it is with us?
This comes from a very successful conduct of our foreign policy and diplomacy for past many years. I think India has a large number of friends and strategic partners in all over the places, in the West, in the East, in the global South. And I think the Indian establishment has kept all the relevant countries fully informed and briefed about this matter over a long period of time. You would have noticed that in every major plurilateral or multilateral grouping, when declarations are negotiated and finalized, there is always one or more paragraphs condemning international terrorism. Everybody who is friends with India knows that India has been at the forefront of countering and combating terrorism by all means that may be available to us and to others. So on that, India's position is crystal clear long before even Pahalgam happened. Secondly, on India-Pakistan relationship, I think it is also very clear that while India is set on developing its own economy, its own development, bringing good consequences to the people of India. In contrast, Pakistan has been imploding from inside. There have been far too many conflicts within that country, and on top of that, Pakistan is widely seen as the epicenter of terrorism all around the world.
Right.
It is so on the western border, on the eastern border, and internally as well. So it is in that light when our diplomats, our ambassadors, our foreign minister are now in touch with the current, in view of the current crisis, people understand. And that is the reason, for example, in earlier question I missed, you asked whether a Chinese immediate reaction of regretting and not condemning the precision strikes. I was not surprised. I think in diplomatic language, regret is a very minor or mild
Yes.
mild reaction. I think it's very important for us to finally pinpoint that some of the key countries such as US, France, Russia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Indonesia, these are the countries which are expressing their understanding and support. But obviously, we have to resolve our own problems by our own authority and by our own power.
Absolutely, absolutely, Ambassador. General Lamba, the weapons used, we are the fourth largest army in the world. We have a huge manpower. We have developed our military hardware over the years. Now, but we have now the modern weapons. Now we have used kamikaze drones, we have used the suicide drones, the loitering munitions, we have used scalp cruise missile, we have used the hammer precision bombs and so on and so forth. Now, how does it enhance? Because we have been able to do these strikes without really crossing the line of control.
I think it's a very relevant point, Dr. Wasbir. It shows India's elevation to a capability to handle terror hubs and terror camps with such precision that actually lead to zero collateral damage, unlike the Pakistan way of doing it. But I think this shows in fact, you've counted most of the weapons that has been used. The technologies are so precise today that with the kind and the pictures that have been displayed on your media, they're a clear indication of the level that we have achieved and the competence we have today in addressing terror hubs and terror points, and so it besides the missile strikes and the weapon systems that may have been used to hit out at these camps, there remain several options, and the several options could be, beyond visual range. You can use weapon systems, you can strike with your own aircraft on your own side, and dispelling bombs that could reach well beyond the border. But that kind of targets that we had, the precision that we had, and we had, that we had targeted, actually listed 21 targets, out of which only 9 were picked up. And it just shows that we have the ability to prevent collateral damage, something that draws international condemnation. So we have the ability to pinpoint, to carry full surveillance, to strike, to prevent collateral damage. And here we are, it's a clean counter-terrorist operation. So I think we've gone a long way where we have virtually, Pakistan should know, its entire border, wherever there is terror hubs, are directly and constantly under surveillance. They could be struck anytime.
Now, Ambassador Bhatia, ever since the strike this morning, Pakistan was rattled and they've increased the caliber of its firing along the line of control. Now, there are reports that at least 9 to 10 civilians in Jammu and Kashmir on our side have been killed and 40 to 41 others are wounded. Now, my question is, bodies like the United Nations Security Council, United Nations saying they exercise restraint. Do you think, bodies like the UN now should come out more strongly against Pakistan hitting at civilian targets, or it is too much to expect from an organization like the UN?
Well, about the United Nations, all that we can see with respect is that there is consensus among the observers and scholars that it has been unable to discharge its responsibilities. It's a sad thing, it's a regrettable thing. In fact, when the UN was created, one of the foremost duties of this organization was to maintain peace and security. In that task, it has failed partly because the 5 permanent members of the Security Council are rarely able to forge unity in terms of an approach to resolve a problem of security, but more importantly, because the UN Security Council reflects the power realities of 1945. Today we are sitting in 2025. It is not a representative body, and therefore the UN has unfortunately lost much relevance. Yet at the same time, I think we must recognize that when 1 or 2 days back the Security Council met, India's position was forcefully presented, and it was adequately appreciated and understood by all the members, permanent and non-permanent members. So we know that UN Security Secretary General has been making some statements. He has his own point of view. He has been urging restraint to both countries. But then a time comes in the life of a nation when it has to take its own authority to protect its own self. This is exactly what India has done. If I may also be allowed to say that there are a number of very important aspects of the way India has projected itself that must be appreciated. I think the combined briefing by the MOD and MEA today, it has been very widely appreciated for its integrity and transparency and honesty. It has presented to the world media full details with live camera shots as to what happened and how much damage was caused in Pakistan. Secondly, Foreign Secretary, presented the initial commentary both in Hindi and English.
Yeah.
And thirdly, the combination of the two lady officers, one from the Indian Army and the other from the Indian Air Force, the three personalities projected such a composite diversity and yet unity picture of India. Everybody has noted it admirably.
Absolutely. Very, very well said, Ambassador. These are the points that it demonstrated that India's democracy, democratic spirit, and its secularism, if I may use the word. I was little blunt in this. But facts are facts. Our secularism cannot be challenged, and that is what has been demonstrated to the world this morning during that press conference. That is what the ambassador was speaking in fine diplomatic language. Of course, not as blunt as I did. I will go for a very, very short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
हाजू हक एआई पृथ्वीत विचरण কৰিবলৈ আৰু ৰোমাঞ্চিত হওক।
दीवार पे कितना डैम्प है यार, पिलर में भी फ्रैक्चर।
मैं तो नाम वाला सीमेंट ही लाया था।
किसी काम का नहीं निकला। सीमेंट सिर्फ नाम वाला हो तो घर हॉरर स्टोरी बन सकता है, इसीलिए लाएं काम वाला सीमेंट। ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट का सुपर फाइन बॉन्ड और हाई कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ बनाए घर का कोना कोना मजबूत। ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट, कमाल का काम, टाइगर है नाम।
এখন ওয়ালত কিমান ড্যাম্প আছে ভাই, পিলাৰতো ফ্ৰেকচাৰ আছে। কিন্তু মইতো নামৱালা সিমেন্ট ব্যৱহাৰ কৰিছিলো, কিন্তু তাৰ দ্বাৰা কোনো কাম নহল।
সিমেন্ট মাত্ৰ নামৱালা হলে ঘৰ হৰৰ ষ্টৰী হৈ যাব পাৰে, সেয়ে লৈ আহক কামৱালা সিমেন্ট। ব্লেক টাইগাৰ সিমেন্টৰ সুপাৰ ফাইন তথা হাই কম্প্ৰেছিভ ষ্ট্ৰেংথে কৰি তোলে ঘৰৰ প্ৰতিটো কোণেই মজবুত। ব্লেক টাইগাৰ সিমেন্ট, কমাল কা কাম, টাইগাৰ হে নাম।
AI Parijat, AI Nikki, and AI Bholuka are coming to your door.
Welcome back. General Lamba, what is your assessment? What could Pakistan possibly do in the next 2 to 3 days? What do you expect? What are the options before them? Because they must be all under tremendous pressure. Because as we will play that, before that, let's play that bite of that Pakistani soon after that attack for both my esteemed panelists to listen to before I can seek their comments on this. It's a very short bite. Quickly, please. All right.
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है। अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं, 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पर भी ये अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है ब्लास्टिक मिसाइल के साथ। उन्होंने हमला किया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर, 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल वक्त है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर के अंदर, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कंफर्म होना बाकी है, लेकिन ये कंफर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
So, General Saab, he has not only confirmed a strike, we don't need any confirmation though, we are sure about what we have done, but he said that हमारे फौज कहाँ थे, हमारे फौजी सोए हुए थे क्या? Were they sleeping? That's what he's asking.
I think the question asked by this reporter is very, very clear and explicit in the state of affairs on the other side. And I think, and these surprise, strikes by what we have learned and put into practice are so sudden and with full surprise that they are very hard to prevent or guard against. But I think your major question was, how do you think now they'll respond? That is the major question that faces all of us. In a way that, are they going to escalate or are they going to respond at a lower level on this? My 2 quick points are, as I've realized, first is their challenge, which is unique to Pakistan, is their military leadership. I mean, with their DGISI also elevated to the position of an NSA, and their Asif Munir himself have been DGISI, with 2 military men, I think what would be in their mind is to somehow respond and escalate the matter militarily. So that is their challenge. But I think the larger challenge is for the government in terms of escalation. For the political leadership, I see the largest challenge not only to how to respond to India, but more importantly, how to restrain their military leadership in taking an aggressive action which takes or escalates the situation out of control. So I think the challenge for the political leadership is truly dual and serious. And so I think if they're deliberate upon it, they're unlikely to escalate. The other point is that if they do escalate, there are 2-3 options they have. They could hit back with artillery or other means on border towns and cantonments, but that's not without risking an act of war. But I think the larger capability they have built up with the virtual army of terrorists that they have on, there is no group that's not working with the Pakistan army. They could activate their sleeper cells in sensitive areas. They could hit from deep to shallow targets within the Indian mainland and try and get sensitive installations, sensitive targets like leadership, etc., is what they could. And I personally feel that rant of nuclear threat is a rant that they all know the consequences of. They have a capability, but everybody knows that the India's response, the no NFU, but an all-out response to any threat would quell them down, would put them down probably for a long time to come. So
Absolutely.
I think the escalation, in my view, as I've explained the reasons, will be low, maybe more again and more terror strikes and limited military options. I think the example of Pulwama, what happened, and Balakot, how we did, when we struck, there was little or no response.
Absolutely. We'll wait and watch how Islamabad responds. Final comments from you, Ambassador Bhatia. I mean, India has used a lot of options in hitting back at Pakistan this time round, diplomatically, economically, and now militarily. So, do you think Pakistan will be able to withstand this multi-pronged pressure put up by India, and the fact that the international community has not condemned India's actions? They are actually siding with India largely. In fact, President Trump also had his first reaction within hours after this strike. He said that we were expecting something from India. So India is a big power today, respected by the world, and how does it pan out in the next few days?
The central point in my way to look at this thing is to avoid bravado and avoid excessive pessimism or depression. I think India is indeed a mature nation and it plans to behave as one. We have taken the first major step. Pakistan has faced it, and now the ball is in Pakistan's court. They will have to decide in the best of their own judgmental process, decision-making process, as to what they want to do. Knowing that country as well as we know here in India, probably there would be a reaction. There would be a military reaction. Our people should be mentally and psychologically ready for it. I'm very happy today, Wasbir Sahib, we are talking all this when civil defense exercises are being conducted. So that reflects the morale and the preparedness of the people of India. India has reasonable confidence. India has ample confidence that whatever Pakistan does diplomatically, politically, militarily, India is capable to respond to that in an appropriate manner. But India's bottom line is very clear. Terrorism anchored on Pakistani soil must end, because this is a curse for this relationship, curse for the people, and our political leadership, resolute as it is, determined and imaginative as it is completely committed to see that terrorism comes to an end once and for all in this part of the world.
Absolutely, extremely well said, Ambassador. Terrorism has to come to an end. India is confident, and we'll have a close watch on what the Pakistanis are doing. General Lamba and Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, thank you so much for joining me, and I'd like to publicly request you to be on the program as and when to give your valuable insights as the situation unfolds. Thank you, viewers, for watching the program. We'll go for a short break. After that, the broadcast continues.
For the first time in Assamese television history, a show created, hosted, and crafted by artificial intelligence. Enter the world of AI where Parijat leads, fun follows. She's beautiful, smart, and sassy. AI Parijat brings tech, tuners, and total wow to your screen. First ever AI show on Ramdhenu. First ever in Assamese television. Ramdhenu AI show with AI Parijat starts 10th May, 7 p.m. Repeats every day.
এইখন ওয়ালত কিমান ড্যাম্প আছে ভাই পিলাৰটো ফ্ৰেকচাৰ আছে কিন্তু মইতো নামৱালা সিমেন্ট ব্যৱহাৰ কৰিছিলো কিন্তু তাৰ দ্বাৰা কোনো কাম নহল
সিমেন্ট মাত্ৰ নামৱালা হলে ঘৰ হৰৰ ষ্টৰী হৈ যাব পাৰে সেয়ে লৈ আহক কামৱালা সিমেন্ট ব্ল্যাক টাইগাৰ সিমেন্টৰ সুপাৰ ফাইন তথা হাই কম্প্ৰেসিভ ষ্ট্ৰেংথে কৰি তোলে ঘৰৰ প্ৰতিটো কোণেই মজবুত ব্ল্যাক টাইগাৰ সিমেন্ট কমাল কা কাম টাইগাৰ হে নাম पूरा धमाल है कोलेज सबसे कमाल है
दीवार पे कितना डैम्प है यार पिलर में भी फ्रैक्चर
मैं तो नाम वाला सीमेंट ही लाया था
किसी काम का नहीं निकला
सीमेंट सिर्फ नाम वाला हो तो घर हॉरर स्टोरी बन सकता है इसीलिए लाएं काम वाला सीमेंट ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट का सुपर फाइन बॉन्ड और हाई कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ बनाए घर का कोना कोना मजबूत ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट कमाल का काम टाइगर है नाम
एक्टिंगत तो तुमी एकेबारे हिट एटिया रांधि देखुआ सुपर हिट गपसत मैं रांधि देखुआम आसे নহয় द बेस्ट एवरीडे मसला प्रतिदिনৰ ৰান্ধা एवरीडे मसला দেখৰ সোৱাদ
স্বাস্থ্যই পৰম ধন হৰি ভালে মন ভাল এই স্বাস্থ্যক বিষয়বস্তু হিচাপে লৈ সজাই তোলা হৈছে আইনা জীৱনৰ মে মাহৰ সংখ্যাটি সুস্বাস্থ্যৰ বাবে পুষ্টিকৰ খাদ্য মানসিক চাপ আৰু টোপনি ডায়াবেটিছত কিদৰে ল'ব খোৱা বোৱাৰ যত্ন গ্ৰীষ্মকালত কেনেকৈ ল'ব স্বাস্থ্যৰ যতন কেইটামান ফলপ্ৰসূ গ্ৰীষ্মকালীন দিহা ওজন কমোৱাৰ কিটিপ আদি ভিন্ন লেখা সামৰি প্ৰস্তুত কৰা হৈছে আইনা জীৱনৰ মে মাহৰ সংখ্যাটি ইয়াৰ উপৰি স্বাস্থ্য সৌন্দৰ্য ফেশ্বন ভ্ৰমণ কাহিনী খাদ্য সম্ভাৰ ভিন্ন স্বাদৰ গল্প উপন্যাস আদি নিয়মীয়া শিতানসমূহ পাঠকে পঢ়িবলৈ পাব